So today, we're going to talk about something very, very important. Ever since the Street Fighter 6 beta, this has sparked this discussion about the current state of players and what we're going to see in Street Fighter 6. The main topic that a lot of people are discussing right now is, will Street Fighter 5 players be good in Street Fighter 6? Now, there was a tweet today that came out from a very vocal individual who said that Street Fighter 5 players were carried by V-Trigger and are now being exposed in Street Fighter 6. Now, those weren't the exact words, but that was pretty much the overall summary of the tweet. Now, I'm not going to focus on the individual. I'm not going to focus on the actual tweet itself, but I'm going to focus on the discussion, the meat of what they were trying to say. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but I want to share my opinion on it and also gather your opinion on this topic. Let's start with the very first part of what he said. Do I agree that V-Trigger carried Street Fighter 5 players? My opinion, I don't think V-Trigger carries a player at all. I think it's just obviously it's just one component and one mechanic of the game. If it was easy to win with V-Trigger, then we'd see a whole slew of new players coming in and just taking over, and all these gold players who, you know, whatever, would just start winning tournaments and start dominating. But till this day, we still see a lot of the same players dominating the circuits. We might have like a couple new players going in and out, but when you watch high-level players, they find ways to, you know, obviously assess the situation and avoid those situations where V-Trigger can make a dramatic comeback. And what separates really good players and bad players, honestly, I feel like comes down to defense, how they rotate their defensive options. If it was just about V-Trigger and activating your V-Trigger and then snowballing the game, then I think that just shows a sign of lack of defensive knowledge on the player. So there's a reason why they're on top, and it's not because of just V-Trigger. It's because they have a clear understanding of fighting game knowledge and theory that they could apply when they play the game, you know? And that's what separates them versus the rest of us. That goes into what people have been talking about on Twitter too, is that, okay, fine, then how come these Street Fighter 5 players who are supposedly good in Street Fighter 5, right, who don't rely on V-Trigger, are bad at Street Fighter 6, or they're not good in Street Fighter 6? Okay, first of all, it's a beta. It was a 3-day beta, all right? And everyone learns at different paces. It took me years to get to where I am right now. And I'm not even, I consider myself good and decent, but compared to other players, I'm nowhere near them. But it took me years to get to this level, you know, and it took me a long time to learn and understand fighting game theory and strategy and the mental fortitude that you need to be a decent player. Just because, you know, someone didn't perform well in the beta doesn't expose them of being a bad Street Fighter player at all. It's because it's a whole new game. People say, oh yeah, it's very similar to Street Fighter 5, and if you're good at Street Fighter 5, then you could carry on your skills to Street Fighter 6. Yes and no. Like there's you know, if you have the fighting game knowledge, yeah, of course you might do a little bit better than others, but it's still a whole new game. There's still so much more to Street Fighter 6 that, one, hasn't been explored. People are still discovering tech till this day, even though the beta is closed. Like, think about how much depth this game has and how complex it is. People expect them to be just good. When I did my placement matches, bruh, I placed gold 1. When you first rank, it gives you a list, or like an option, right? Like how do you rate yourself? Like, what were you in Street Fighter 5? And obviously I'm above diamond or whatever, right? So I rated myself the highest and I placed gold. Some people completed all 10 placement matches perfectly, you know? I wasn't one of those players. I think it's way too early to judge, you know, who's good. Did Street Fighter 6 expose Street Fighter 5 players? Did V-Trigger really carry them? Because there's no V-Trigger mechanic in Street Fighter 6, so how come they're not winning in Street Fighter 6? It's so early in the game, and we haven't had a lot of time with the game, and the strategy and the meta hasn't evolved yet. I think to say, or to just be like, oh yeah, Street Fighter 6 exposed Street Fighter 5 players? No. Because in Street Fighter, it's two totally different games. It's beta. Everyone learns differently. People learn at different paces, and it depends on how you learn and how you practice in order to get good, you know? Alright guys, that wraps up the video. If you guys like this type of content, let me know in the comments below, or you can like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you are a new fighting game player or a seasoned vet, we do have a Discord full of fighting game players too, so make sure to check the links below in the description section. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.